Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Brown, founder of Restful Sleep MD. We are here for an amazing conversation, and I'm just making sure, technically we're good. I believe we are, but just kind of making sure, you know how these things are. Again, hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Funke Afolabi Brown. I'm the founder of Restful Sleep MD. I am so excited to have my friend and colleague and pure inspiration and a powerhouse here today. And we're going to be talking about, just productivity as women professionals and how we can use sleep as a superpower and how we can use sleep as a tool to enhance our productivity. So it's so good to have Dr. Jia here. I will not do it justice if I try to introduce you. So I'm just going to have you introduce yourself. Tell us who you are and what it is you do, and why am I so excited to have you on here?
All right. Hi. Thank you for having me, Dr. Brown. I'm Dr. Jia. I am a nephrologist, a research scientist, but I also have, I'm the founder of Publishedmd, where I help clinicians build their authority, publish papers, and achieve their academic goals. How I met Dr. Brown was through EBS, a physician entrepreneur group. But then I found out what Dr. Brown does, and I'm like, I need to call her. I am in trouble. I have sleep issues. I need your help. So that's how we became friends. I became clients. So, that change in sleep helped me really boost my productivity.
All right, so there's so much juiciness in just what you started off with, but we're gonna save it. So you guys just hang in there. We're gonna get to just how this is real truth, and we have someone who is a true testimony to that. And so you talked about the fact that you are a researcher, and I know you have like several grants, and you literally just completed your second Tedx talk. You're publishing papers, you're mentoring. First, I just can't wait. Just tell us a little bit about just the Tedx talk experience, because I think that's a huge deal. You're a thought leader in this field. And so what was that like? How did that come about?
Right. So I had one mantra this year, actually 2023, is that whenever I have a thought, I would not say, I'll do it some other time. I would just say, I'm going to commit first and figure it out later. And so we have a lot of bucket lists, right, in our lives. And because I was like, oh, well, it'd be nice if I have a TEDx talk. And as soon as I heard this, I'm like, no, I can't say it would be just nice. I will do it. So because I had the commitment, I said, you know what, I'm just going to figure out, I'll say, I found a coach, help me write the pitch, help me, guide me on how to choose the topic. And then once I landed the talk, then it was a whole nother ballgame. You have to write the script. And here that was actually quite interesting. I thought, public speaking is different from research. And it turns out, as I was writing the script, how I formulated my script was exactly how a research paper is, because you have to build an argument. And so the formula for argument is a statement plus evidence. And the evidence in the TEDx talk is about telling your story, other people's story, some statistics. And I was watching different talks, and that was how I came about, oh, you know what, research talks, any sort of marketing, anything in life is all about, if you want to prove yourself, you need to show up, you need to create a statement that is true to yourself, and then have evidence through your life, other people's lives, to support that sort of statement so that you can continue moving forward.
I love it. I love all of that. First, the fact that you said you first figure out the what, and then the how comes later. And that was just the experience I had working with you in the Restful Sleep MD program. You committed to it. What was the goal? And that's really what we do, right? You set that goal, right? And then I just kept seeing that progress improving. And I think, honestly, we can apply that to anything we do in life. And we'll definitely put the link to the TEDx talks as well in the comments, because it's so good. It's brilliant. It's inspiring and just really incredible. So that's TEDx now. And I can imagine what that took, right? The research you had to do, the preparation you had to do, some of the mental and mind drama you had to deal with,
Mhm.
right? And on top of that, juggling that with life, right? Juggling that with life as a clinician, juggling that with life as, as someone who's a writer, who's a publisher, who's a researcher, and your business. Just tell us, walk us through what that looks like, balancing it. I mean, people say there's really no true balance in that sense.
Mhm.
There's maybe some kind of, work-life integration, but you are, in my eyes and in most people's eyes, you're getting stuff done. And so tell us what does that look like for you?
Right. And on the surface, it seems like I also want to kind of peel back the curtains, how it's
Mm.
like. People see me doing a lot. I'm all about taking actions. And so even if I don't feel like it, I will do it. And I've created a schedule where my work, day job, physician life, it's a very strict compressed 8 to 4 p.m. I don't take lunch breaks because I think lunch takes time. So I'm like squeezing everything in that small amount of time. And then right after, when I get home, it will be business, and I'll do business in the morning. So that is kind of how I structure my day, and then weekends all about working on the business side of things. So that way it's clear in terms of schedule. Now, I try to integrate everything. Everything must be in alignment in terms of the purpose. So my purpose in my life is to help 10 million patients. And how do I achieve that is in my research, each publication, I can help 1,000 patients. And so I wanted the business side to say, if I can help 1,000 physicians publish a paper, so 1,000 times 1,000 would be 10 million. So because of that, in alignment and purpose, anytime I'm doing my day job, physician, researcher job, I'm also helping in my business side, because now I'm thinking, oh, what are the better ways to improve my research? So that will feed into like, oh, let me think about modules, think about content to help other researchers, how to save time, how to be more productive in their research. And then as I'm doing my business, I'm also thinking about, oh, marketing and sales. And that is going to help me promote my own research and how to sell my story through the research. So because both of them feed into each other, it doesn't really feel like they are in conflict. So that's the first piece, that the goal must be in alignment. Then the third part is the family piece. That is, they tend to be somewhat outside of our lives. And so I've been very intentional. Starting like mid last year, we did a lot more family meetings where we actually sit down every month, sometimes 2 months. We're like, okay, what is your goal? And so everybody knows each other's goals, and we'll say, this is what my goals are. Everybody gets a chance to talk. And then we will, if we have a family trip, I will bring a whiteboard. We will do our goals. We will do our mission and vision and actions. So these are the 3 things I do. And having said that, I'm not perfect. So there are days that I don't do clearly separated. There are days there that I am doing a lot more research side and do very little in business. And then there are seasons where I was traveling a lot, like last week, going for the Tedx talk, where I had to take time off from work.
Yeah, no, I can't, I don't even know where to start. But one thing I'm just like in awe of is what you do with the family, bringing everybody together on the same page so that they can be in on it. They know exactly what's going on, and they can learn from what we're doing, right? And I think that is incredible, because one, it's going to allow the bonding time, and it's going to also enrich the relationships you have with your kids. And one thing that you're doing is you're leaving a legacy, right? They're watching this, they're seeing you with the struggles and with the, the things you're needing to do, the sacrifices you're needing to make, the balances you're needing to put in place. And so I think it's just win-wins all round. And then the other piece I love is, men, the structure and the boundaries. And one of the things I feel as women, as multi-passionate women, I call us, right, high achieving women, is sometimes we don't have any boundaries. And so we don't know when the day ends and then the night starts. We don't know when the work ends and then family starts. Like it's all just one big mess. And then it seems overwhelming because we can't seem to get things done and we're darting from one task to the other. But you've clearly created boundaries, and that I think is phenomenal. And that's definitely one of the things I always encourage women I work with to do, like set, even if it's either time blocks or patterns or things that work, and sort of, batch your tasks if possible, time block if possible. So that way you can sort of be more accountable for the time you're spending. And from time to time, also do time audits, like what is taking most of my time and why, and do that out of curiosity, not out of like, I'm failing at this or the other. But I think that ends up then creating more time for you in that sense. And one of the things I always talk about is we all have 24 hours, maybe not 24 hours. We all have maybe about 16 hours because we're sleeping 8 of those hours, right? So for some reason, there's a reason why we only have that amount of time to do the work we're supposed to do. And it seems like that time is actually enough as long as we're able to prioritize and organize our schedule in a way that works for us. So I love that. I love that. And I love your math. Wow, that's incredible. You're going to get to your goal in no time. Because when you said it, I'm like, how's that going to work out? Because you're so productive. And so you're helping people in the hospital. You're helping people through, your own publications and your own research. And the fact that through your business, you're helping thousands and thousands of people. So kudos and kudos and kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, sometimes people get intimidated by such a schedule. And do understand that because I have this purpose, my work doesn't feel like work all the time. There are times where there are things that I don't like to do, but I have to do. But once you get the publication, you see your name, or once you see a win from your student or client, that is so meaningful that is worth it. So there are seasons where I think this, because it's my startup, I'm just a fairly new researcher. So this is the exciting time where we get to we do a lot of things and don't take as much rest. But I do believe in what are you willing to give up for the bigger goal. And a few things, talk about giving up, right? Is what are you willing to give up to get that rest? What are you willing to give up to be productive? What are you willing to give up to even things that are as simple as being willing to give up my manga. I think Dr. Brown knows that I love manga very much. It was one of the biggest thing that I had to give up. It took me 2 months, actually, 2 cycles of 2 months to completely give that up. And so we have to think about what are the things we're willing to give up and in order to achieve and do the things we want.
Yes. And that was one other thing you mentioned. I think also going back to your mission statement, and I would encourage everyone to have one. Like, what are you living by, right? Because if you live for nothing, you'll fall for anything, right? Everything will seem to take up time and take up space for you. And so if you have that kind of North Star, or that it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but that mission statement or goal or whatever it is that you're working towards, whenever you need to maybe make some sacrifices, maybe make some adjustments, and you feel frustrated, you feel the discomfort, you feel the stretch, you feel the FOMO, you could go back to it and say, okay, this is why I'm doing this, right? This is what matters to me. This is my goal. This is what I really aim to achieve. And so in order to do that, I'm going to have to make decisions that are aligned, right? If I want to, I want to be more productive, which is what we're talking about now, but I realize I feel like I'm living in a constant fog, yet I'm only getting 3-4 hours of sleep. Okay, so then I'm going to need to push manga to the side or push that Netflix, series to the side to get a little bit more sleep so that I can be more productive, so that I can achieve that goal. So it may initially seem uncomfortable, but if you keep that in front of you, I think that it's very, very helpful. And it's also helpful to have that mission statement in a place where you can see it, right? Not somewhere buried in the middle of a journal where you're seeing it just maybe very, very infrequently. And so that way, I feel like that helps a lot. Now, you have so many words of wisdom for us, but I want you to share with us maybe 3 tips for that woman, that mom, that busy professional, whether a physician or not, who is trying to, maximize their productivity, who is trying to, kind of make sure that they're not flapping their hands in the wind and they're not running around like on the hamster wheel, but they're really moving and aligning with what they're doing, making sure that what they're doing is completely aligned with their goals and being as productive as possible with it.
Right. I think my number one is you need to have a big enough goal, number one. And the goal is yours. You don't censor your goal. You need to have a really big goal. The reason being, if your goal is too small, every obstacle is going to be in the way. You need to have the goal so big, so big that any obstacles pales in comparison. This is my favorite Grant Cardone quote, that you need to have a goal really big, that any small thing that comes along is so small. And so when you have that is your North Star. That's number one. Number two is about when you are in a very overwhelmed situation, it is really better to have a scheduled time, maybe 2 or 3 hours in a week, called strategic thinking time, which I put it, where I actually reflect to see how has my week gone. Am I in a state of overwhelm? Am I feeling, wow, I actually controlled this week? If I feel like I'm overwhelmed, I'll write down what is the reason. And typically it's because I have too many open loops. That means I have like 6 things. Some can be big, some can be small. There are too many open loops. And so they're taking up bandwidth in my mind. When I find that, let me write down all the things I haven't closed, I haven't done, haven't finished. And then to overcome that overwhelm, I will choose which one is the quick win, the easiest one. Then I start closing them off. Maybe some silly administrative survey that I have to complete. Maybe it's a resident evaluation form that I have to fill out. These take up space in the mind and I feel overwhelmed. Yeah. It's not even a research paper, it's all these administrative tasks. And so having that space that I'm going to use that time to, as you say, time audit, that usually allows me to just clear up the mind and also start thinking about the next week, the next month, the next year, the next 10 years, the next 20 years. So use that 3-4 hours just as my strategic thinking time. So that's my tip number 2. And my third tip, okay, this is going to go back to Dr. Brown's philosophy. That is, you need to have a clear mind. That is, you need to rest. You need to have enough rest. Whenever I feel overwhelmed, it's usually I have not been taking care of my physical body. So, and that means not enough sleep and not enough physical activity. So I'm all about 100% or none, because it's just easier. So you need to enough sleep every day and go for exercise every day. And when you have 100%, you don't have to make decision. Like it is already a decision made for you. And now then people say, oh, what if I have a bad day? Whatever. Always have a contingency plan. So my contingency plan for if I can't do a regular gym day, I would have an exercise stretching. Like, okay, I only need to do 10 stretches. Or if I can't sleep, I know my contingency plan, the next day I need to sleep at this time. So it's 100% with contingency plan when you can't fulfill it.
I love it. I love that so much. I love those tips. And I think we're just going to zero in on the third one, which is taking care of ourselves, right? We know a lot about, yes, we should plan, we should set those goals. And I love how you really think about those goals. Your goals should not be small, because if they're small and they're very easily achievable, I mean, I think you can have small goals. You can have bite-sized goals that leads to your big goal, right? So you don't feel overwhelmed all the time, but really setting a dream that's bigger than you. Otherwise, it's not going to matter, right? Yeah. And then I love the fact that we do need you optimal, right? In your clarity, in your body, in your emotions. And one of the things that's so foundational, we talk about that in the program, is sleep. So I want you to just tell us a little bit, what was your relationship like with sleep before you joined the Restful Sleep MD program, realizing that you were productive, you were getting stuff done even
Right.
then. So
Right.
what was that like? Yeah.
So it's so interesting. I had always thought that a good night's sleep is where I pride myself that I was able to fall asleep within seconds.
Mhm.
I would, like, my head before it hits the pillow, I would have fallen asleep. And my husband was like, "Oh, I'm so jealous. You can fall asleep so quickly." And then after I spoke to Dr. Brown, like, no, that's actually not normal. Turns out when we were doing my sleep diary, I was getting like 3 to 5 hours of sleep per night. And because I was so sleep deprived, I could like fall asleep so quickly. And so it was more about training that this is not the normal, number one. And after some time, I felt the fog lift off. So this was the second time I felt that. The first time I had major fog was when I had my second child. When, I was traveling to do fellowship, every day I was working long hours. And then in the middle of the night, I'd work up 3-4 hours to nurse the baby. And so that time I was so foggy that I would fall asleep when I was talking to my attending. And I couldn't think. After my program director sent me home and said, "No, you need to rest." So I just slept and I woke up. Wow, I could run really fast. That was the first time I realized that sleep is so important. Just the mental fog. So that was the first time. And so I knew the importance of sleep, but I was still very sleep deprived. So having Dr. Brown just going through what normal sleep is like, how to build sleep pressure, how to optimize your jet lag. Sometimes we get that. You shift from time zones, you shift from night shift to day shift. So that was helpful. And the third one, to me, was most life-changing, was help me sleep train my daughter, because her bad sleep habits was affecting my sleep habits. And so it was like a vicious cycle. And then since then, my relationship with sleep has improved tremendously. So now I no longer feel that sleep deprived. I think there are days where I'm still not as good, but at least now I know if I'm not good, this is the next step I need to do. I just have the checklist, how to get back into the schedule and the zone.
I love it. I love those tips you just shared. And I think that's something that I really want women to be aware of. Like, if you're falling, when people say, "Yes, I sleep so well, before my head hits the pillow, I'm asleep." And then, oh, by the way, I wake up at 4 a.m. and my eyes are like bright and ready to go. But then it's not morning yet. I still feel tired. And if you're noticing that, that might be a sign that you're sleep deprived. And I love that you brought that up, because I was like, wait, wow. We call it the sleep latency, the time to fall asleep. Usually you have some time where you sort of slowly get into sleep, or you were so exhausted because you had been so short on sleep. And it was incredible to see the transformation. And it was just such a thrill to see your daughter sleep better. And so but I think that's the thing. Most times we don't even realize that our kids can be our sleep disruptors. They are as cute as a button. So sometimes it's hard to say no. But you know what? They get all the love during the day. They get all the cuddles during the day.
Yeah.
We could save on the cuddles, bedtime routine, get them to sleep. But in the middle of the night, we could get them to sleep better. And also, I think one of the things you had shared was the fact that she was also less tired, right? Her body wanted to sleep, but she just was not able to sleep independently. But with the coaching, you were able to get her to sleep, and she wasn't like a baby. And that's the other thing. Sometimes we think, oh, it's unless you have a baby, it's only babies that need to, to learn all those tricks. But even if you have an older child, you could teach them to sleep independently. Definitely. And
Right.
one of the other things I wanted to also highlight was how you then sort of learned yourself even more to figure out, this is the time when I'm more productive. So we weren't looking for perfect, right? We were just looking for progress, and we kept seeing that progress to the point where you knew, okay, I'm going to set the boundaries at bedtime. I know when exactly I wake up, and then I start my day. And so it also kind of helped with just improving your overall, scheduling and time, the time allotment and what you allotted to, the times you allotted to different activities. So I thought that was really incredible as well.
Yeah,
So,
I want to add one more thing.
Yeah.
What was really helpful when you were doing the coaching was you allowed me to progress slowly. So I was getting like 3-4 hours of sleep. And then you said, don't aim for 8 hours. Going from 3 to 8 is not possible. So you were giving me permission. Okay, next week, let's aim for 5 hours per day. And so that gave me permission to okay, I just need to not be perfect and do a little bit. And so that was very helpful. And then the second thing that was also really helpful is that to troubleshoot. Another issue I had was because I had so much things in my mind, I was racing. So at 3 a.m., I would jump up and oh, I'm ready to go. I need to start working. I need to do this. I need to do that. And so, you help me troubleshoot and say, okay, when it gets to this point, what does it mean? How do I prevent that? But if it does happen, how do I get back into that zone, get back to sleep? So these were the two things that was really helpful.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. That was a big one too, the mind racing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also with building routines. I think that is just so essential because we have our kids, we do routines with them, we do the bath time, we do all that. And I love how you created your own bedtime routine that was perfect for you, right? We weaned off the manga a little bit.
That was a whole process. That was long.
I know, but you did it. I was so proud of you. And also, I think one of the things you talked about really is something that I definitely almost fight against is people who are very chronically sleep deprived, now trying to suddenly sleep 9 hours all of a sudden. I would rather we build on it, right? Because when you try to force yourself to sleep for prolonged periods of time, what ends up happening is you start to try harder, and then you may then sleep into insomnia. And so we just kind of had to go step by step, which is why, the program takes about 7 weeks. It sounds like a lot, but because we're doing a very holistic dive into it, we're not just giving, sleep hygiene tips and wishing you bye-bye, right? We're going through the sleep diary and we're taking action and setting goals. And so that's definitely something I feel is very valuable. And thank you so much for, implementing it. And what's your sleep like now?
So I do take my sleep very seriously. If I'm not traveling, so traveling does mess my sleep up. I would try my best to be in bed by 9. And so a shower, screen, I'm still not as good, but I'll try. I'll take a shower. I will have the most comfortable pillow I have. I have lavender smell balm. I have lavender scrub, I love lavender. So anything to help me calm down. I do write my goals. A little bit just to write down so that I can unload the thoughts. So before I always have mind racing because it's a lot of unresolved issue. So the first step was trying to write down the things in the diary. But more recently, I started to shutdown routines after the day is over. Okay, these are what I've done. These are the pending things, and I have created a plan for next day. So now it has closed the loop. So that is no longer racing. So that's kind of the schedule at home. But as I'm traveling, now I have also made sure that I won't buy tickets to do red eye flights. I care enough about that now that it is not worth it. I'm going to pay extra $200 to get a flight that is 10 a.m. in the morning and arrive at 6 p.m. It doesn't matter. I'd rather have a good sleep at home than sleep on a plane.
Yeah, no, I love that. And it's from understanding the value of sleep. And I just love how your relationship with sleep has changed. So what would you tell that woman who is struggling with sleep? Because there are a lot. And sometimes even as busy women, one of the other things I hear is, well, I feel like if I'm just spending my time sleeping, I'm wasting time. I could be doing all these other things. What would you say to that woman who, say, for instance, is sort of on the fence and is saying, you know what, I think I need that extra help with my sleep. I know all the sleep hygiene. I've done everything, right? I try hard and my mind is racing and I'm trying, and I probably need that little help. Maybe this is something, maybe this is a program that might help me. What would you say to that woman?
So first thing is, if you think that you need more, you need to work more and take less sleep, it actually means that you're probably sleep deprived, because your mind, just coming from somebody who have gone through a before and after, like I'm so much more productive now just because I sleep 7 hours compared to 3 hours. You do the same amount of time, you have 10 times more productivity. So always you need to keep this healthy first, then your mind will be healthy. So that's the first part. Second is, if you're on the fence and you think you've tried sleep hygiene and it's not working, that's the answer. It's not working. So you need help. So that's how I am. I will always, people ask me, why do you have coaching for everything? I have coaching for sleep, I have coaching. People laugh at me. And I was like, exactly. If I can't do it myself, why do I spend time? We all have to pay. To get anything we want, we all have to pay. You pay with money or you pay with time. So you choose. And to me, I value time a lot more. I want to be youthful forever. I want to stay up to 100 years old with a sharp mind. And I know poor sleep hygiene, sleep deprivation is going to shorten my life. It's going to cause my brain to go into dementia. So I want to prolong that as long as possible. That's the answer.
That's incredible. That is an incredible answer. And I'm seeing the productivity. I'm seeing you really out there doing all the things and taking care of your body, taking care of your brain by making sure you prioritize sleep. So thank you for doing that. So where can we find you? This has been so good. Where can we find you? Where can we work with you? If anybody wants to ask, more questions about getting their work done, in academia or just working with Publishedmd, where should they reach you?
Yeah, so I would say you can email me directly at info@publishedmd.com. But I know a lot of people like to check things out first. Go to my YouTube channel, Publishedmd, where I give tips on clinician productivity, mindset, success habits from my mentors. It's not just my ideas, it's all the wisdom I get from my mentors. I want to share it with everybody, how I have my method on writing research paper, my method on thinking about research concepts. So you can learn there. It's all free. And yeah, so and if you have any questions or topics that you're interested, you can always DM me or email me.
Awesome. And again, I am just beyond proud of you. You have done amazing, and I know you'll continue to do amazing. And I just want to thank you for coming here today to share just what your experience has been like in terms of maximizing. You're not just productive, you're supercharged productive. And how you used sleep as a tool. And this is what I offer for women out there. So if you're out there and this is something that you feel would benefit you, I know it will, because like Dr. Jia mentioned, brain health, physical health, longevity, productivity, emotion, mood. And if you've tried it and it's not working, it's time to hop on a call with me and restfulsleepmd.com. And I'll put the link in the show notes and also in the comments. That way you could grab it and let's talk about this. Let's talk about your sleep. Let's talk about how to get things better so that you can do all those things that you've been called to do, so that you can look at that big, audacious goal and say, I could do it. And I'm going to make sure that the healthiest version of myself gets out there and gets it done. So definitely, I look forward to connecting with you. And this, again, has been so helpful. We went out a little bit longer, but there was just so much value in what you were sharing and all that. And so I hope to see you all next time. And until then, I hope you rest well.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.